close ball games. What does that do for this team going forward? Maybe building confidence that they know they can win those.
I think it builds both confidence and toughness. I think it builds helps our team become closer, where we got to really rely on each other, help each other out, complement one another. Just have that control what you can control kind of mentality, and I love it, you know. Trust me, I love beating somebody by 7 or 8 touchdowns too, but that has its own set of issues too, believe it or not. But I think, again, I think there's a lot more parity in college football. I think you'll see more of those kind of games more now than ever, just because of for all the reasons, from the ability for kids to get recruited much easier, access to kids' information. Kids are more willing to travel for the right opportunities. Everybody's got good facilities, and everybody's on TV. So, you know, I think there's more good players on more teams now than ever.
You said you love it. You sort of lit up a little bit. Can you explain that a little bit? What about it?
Just the competition and the strategy, and where every play is the biggest play in the game. You know, as a coach, you like to believe you have that mindset all the time around your kids. You know, whether it's meetings or practice, and holding kids accountable, and you know, those kind of games right there are awesome for teaching and saying "I told you so," and you know, J-Ron gives up a play in that game, and you would have thought the world came to an end, and he hasn't really been that way in the past, and that's maturation, things of that nature. But he realized, oh my gosh, I might have cost us the game on that one play. And fortunately, there's still a lot of ball to be played, and we were able to overcome that. But that's one small example of when you have that aha moment on the sideline, and you just like, you're going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. Let's go to work. You know, there's just go get a stop. You know, and then he comes out here and might have been his best Monday practice I've seen. Just his focus and the sense of desperation that you want your guys to play with all the time. Hey, and in those, you're not going to win every one of those. We've been fortunate, I guess, over the whatever it is. There's some stat out there. Last 8 or 9 games, we've been pretty successful in one-score games, and that's a mindset and those types of things. But sometimes the luck doesn't go your way either. You need some luck in a game of football, and we certainly had our share the other night. But I think you make your luck too, you know, by playing with effort, and you know, teams don't always make all the plays they're supposed to make. That happens all the time. So anyway, I think you can get a lot from it, no doubt, and obviously you win, and it feels a lot better winning in those tight games, that's for sure.
Is it easier for everybody to buy when everybody's contributing?
I think so. I think, again, yeah, I mean, again, looking at just special teams, and you talk all the time about the hidden yardage that you have, and so again, I think it's magnified tenfold, and kids reckon, whether it's T.J. Green going down late on coverage, you know, all of a sudden he's a starter, and but he's still playing with incredible effort, and again, that desperation, covering a punt and stones him, pins him deep, and we're right there to hit him right in the mouth, and to, you know, help create field position and back him up, and I think there's just a heightened awareness in those kind of situations and those kind of games.
You guys just expect to dominate a Syracuse team that fires offensive coordinator and has struggled a little bit?
No, I mean, they move the ball all over the place on Notre Dame, on Florida State, up and down the field, and even in Louisville. You know, Louisville turns the guy loose on the reverse pass. He's wide open, standing in the end zone. That game is a one-score game deep into the fourth quarter, and Syracuse drops a reverse pass right in their hands. There's nobody within 10 yards of him, and they had every opportunity to win that game. I think we all agree Louisville's is a solid team. I think you look at Notre Dame that went toe-to-toe with Notre Dame or with Florida State. We would all agree same thing. You know, they're throwing. We think Ronald Darby's one of the best cover guys in the country. They threw the ball over his head time after time after time. So I think you look at the record and you look at maybe their points per game, and you recognize they've moved the ball, but they've had some struggles in the red zone. I don't know why they let the other coordinator go. I have no idea. But they're moving the ball. It isn't because they're not moving the ball. So they've got really good receivers and good backs, and they're tough, and they were very aggressive in their approach. And the quarterback that came in, went on the road in his first start, won a game. Jimbo Fisher called that the best defense he's seen all year. And Johnny Freshman goes out there and lights those DBs up, and they threw the ball. When they threw it, they completed it, and completed against good players. And that freshman quarterback and the freshman receiver Ishmael, go look at his highlight tape, and you'll come away saying, wow, they do. I think there's a misconception out there. So that's not coach speak. You watch all the plays that we've watched, and you actually watch the game. Don't look at the end result. You'll see that, wait a minute, the whole story isn't being told here. And they're very aggressive on defense, super aggressive. And they're going to make things very, very difficult and put our team under high duress. And again, it's their coach is a lot like the BC coach in regards to toughness and aggressiveness and being physical, and those kids have they buy into that. So we'll expect another one of those slugfests.
How much better have you seen them since they made the change, that offensive coordinator? You look at, okay, have they really changed schematically and those kind of things? I think every week there's a new little small package, but they still do what they do. I think there's a philosophy there, whether that's because things happen midstream and we can't just wholesale change, whatever it is. I think they're doing a good job of spreading the ball out. They got the tight end, the backs, the 88 and 8 and 22 and 84. They do a good job. They're in empty. They're doing the same stuff. They got two tailbacks out there at times, and they got a lot of 11 personnel and empty sets and two back sets, and they do a lot of stuff we just saw. They're going to do tempo and multiple formations, a lot of the jet motions and the wheel routes and reverse passes and the pop passes. Throw back to the quarterback, the double pass. We've seen all those things from them. They did it against us a year ago. They do it now with the new coordinator as well. So I think they do a good job of utilizing all their talent, and I don't see much of a change.
We've seen Theus and Irving, Louisville, BC left tackles. Where does Hickey rank?
I'm not really much into ranking them. They're big and they're physical and capable, and usually guys they play their best game against us, and so we'll expect their best effort.
It's another good left tackle, though. It's got to deal with it.
No doubt.
That Vic has to deal
with. And he's big and physical and strong and competitive, plays hard. That team plays really hard. Syracuse plays really, really hard. And it's it won't be easy by any stretch.
Is that a good challenge for Vic week in and week out?
Sure it is, no doubt. Yeah. He had a physical challenge a week ago in regards to some of the run game issues and heavy sets, and he did really well. So this week will be same in some capacities, no doubt.
Last year they busted a couple big runs on you.
Mm-hmm. They ran for 300 yards.
Yeah. Is it good to have that kind of stuff on film so you can show your guys?
Sure. It doesn't take much. At any time, they busted one for about 80 on Wake Forest, who had been playing good defense too. If you're not in your gap, they got good enough players. They can house call it at any time. Just like, if you're a DB, you're in press coverage and you're by yourself. If you're too high, you got too much weight on your heels, or you cross over, or what have you. they are very aggressive, and they're going to make sure you got your P's and Q's in order, and they're going to test you from the very first snap until all the way to the last snap. You know, they tried to take the top off the defense, both Louisville and Notre Dame, first play of the game. They're going downtown, and we're successful in doing so. So, I mean, where you're like, that's great coverage, that's a good call, and it's like back shoulder, perfect, like some of the things you see our offense do sometimes where everybody goes, wow, you know, that's what they do. And I'm sure they're shooting for more consistency doing that, but they've got the capability to do it and the philosophy to do it.
Going from an O-line that was full of graduated seniors, just veterans, kind of gelled, going from that to kind of a makeshift O-line that Syracuse has with all the injuries and issues that they've had, how do you keep the defensive line and the front seven's mentality and focus just going from one side of the spectrum to the other?
Because it's not just one unit, it's really it's a whole, just like our whole defense needs to play well. If the secondary isn't playing well, the back seven's not playing well, and the front four is, it doesn't really matter. We're all going to suffer. So, you know, I think it's like, here's Syracuse, here's their philosophy, here's their plays, here's their mantra, you know, and sometimes you get too much. You know, obviously the game of football is won at the line of scrimmage, but we can't give up explosive plays. We got to have tight coverage. We got to put pressure on a quarterback. We can't let them have balance in what they do. And you know, it's not just like they're lining up in the I formation and just trying to run the ISO. That's not what they do. They're gonna, like everybody, they're a little bit creative in all their different sets and motions and backfield sets and the style of runs that they run. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, that DN's got to stay in his C gap. So if the backer isn't in his B gap, it doesn't matter that the DN's kicking butt in his C gap, because there's nobody in the B gap, so they're going to run for a lot of yardage. So it's all of them together, how well they play together, that's important. So, you know, we're going to have to match up well in the secondary. You know, if the D-line's really doing well, and the secondary, it's not a good matchup, but we're not playing well, again, it doesn't really matter. They're going to make plays all over the place.
You guys have risen to fifth, total D. Does that still mean something to the guys who talked about one?
I think if you asked our guys, they would say yes, and that's good. You know, you want them to be hungry, to be recognized as an elite unit, and they recognize that it's the season that matters. And here's where you're at. Again, nobody's getting awarded any trophies right now. We haven't accomplished it. We're not even bowl eligible. You know, you're proud of your guys and how hard they've played, and we've continued to improve in some areas, and in some areas not as much, and we've got to continue to become more disciplined as a unit. Again, every week presents its own challenges, and you know, the book will be told, and the story will be told rather, you know, at the end of the year, and hopefully it's the Clemson Tigers are having a successful football year, and we get a chance to finish really strong. And if having an elite, you know, top 5 defense is a byproduct of that, you know, so be it. You know, we probably won't have a real successful year if we don't finish strong on defense. So they recognize that, but you know, we're not counting our eggs, you know, right yet, and you know, we're really trying to focus on the things that we need to do to get better. So if we keep our focus there, you know, I think that you know, the byproduct of that will be, you know, being recognized as a you know, an elite unit.
How can you be better?
Oh, geez, you know, just alignments, again, discipline and reading your keys, trusting your keys, playing your assignments, you know, fundamentals and technique across the board, whether it's a fundamental technique on defending a certain scheme, a zone read scheme. They piped a zone for about 12, 15 yards because we're not playing the correct technique inside, and or the backer doesn't have the front called the correct way on a very fundamental thing. So, you know, that conversation is its own press conference altogether. And sometimes a lot of those mistakes are covered up because they don't expose us, they didn't see us, the wheel route's open, the quarterback's under duress, or he's looking down the middle of the field instead of the wide open guy over here. We have issues across the board, and for all the good things that have transpired thus far this season, we have plenty of things, and our job as coaches is to say the enemy sees all those bad things that you're doing, and our job is to try to get those things corrected. And you know, the season, a lot of times it's plugging this hole, and then there's another leak over here, so you're plugging that one, and hopefully you pull that one out if you've plugged it and go to something else. There's always going to be issues, and so it's not always going to be easy, and our guys don't have to play perfect, but we've got to, you know, from a fundamental and discipline standpoint, those are things that we can control, and we need to do a better job in those areas, and that's what the season's about. That's why you practice, and you know, if we didn't have to coach them and correct them, then the players wouldn't need us. They just need to show up on Saturday. So you know, I'm not you know, as much frustrated as much as those are the issues, and that's kind of the urgency that we have, because if we don't fix the things from a week ago, they'll show up this Saturday, and you know, they'll expose us.
All set.
Right.